If there's one thing I know about people, it's that a great many of them love the subject of the paranormal. Numerous books, television shows, movies, and even podcasts have been developed for a group of people that hunger after the unexplained. Whether the mystery is enticing or offers some solace to those wondering what happens to us when we die, paranormal fiction continues to be as popular as ever. One such branch of the genre sprouted from, where else, the internet, and began life as creepypastas that would eventually become known as SCP, or Secure, Contain, Protect. SCPs are essays presented as written reports and documents of things that violate the natural order. SCPs delighted readers with its cold and sterile research documents that discuss the strange and unexplained, such as a toaster that can only be referred to in the first person, an IKEA with an infinite interior space, and violent test subjects gone awry. Remedy Entertainment draws inspiration from the internet's collection of paranatural material for Control, a mind-bending action-adventure game steeped in the lore of extreme classified government research. And I'll be damned if it's not the best work the studio's done. Control centers on the Federal Bureau of Control, a secretive government agency established to study all SCP-related subject matter manifested through objects of power, altered items, places of power, and the more serious altered world events. The Bureau is housed inside a place of power that employees have come to call the oldest house, and have learned to tolerate its aberrant behavior, such as a constantly shifting floor plan. If you thought it was amusing to read emails from the UAC staff in 2016's Doom, you're going to love the correspondence from angry employees complaining about a bathroom that disappears whenever someone needs it. The Bureau enjoys a unique level of secrecy because the oldest house has an ability to hide itself from anyone except those looking for it, which would explain how Jessie Faden finds herself at its doorstep. As a child, Jessie saw her brother Dylan taken away by the FBC and has spent her life tracking him down. Now, it would be easy to say that Control is a story about two siblings searching for each other, but that would ignore everything that makes this game so wonderfully charming. Simply put, the Federal Bureau of Control and its menagerie of experiments is Remedy at their highest storytelling form. As much as I enjoyed playing in Quantum Break's world, it didn't have nearly the same level of heart and earnestness found in Control. What this does better than any game in the Remedy catalog is make you want to fervently explore a unique game space that holds documents and recordings begging to be discovered. I haven't been this enamored in a fictional workplace since visiting Half-Life's Black Mesa over 20 years ago. It is abundantly clear that Remedy had a lot of fun with its own fiction, mixing in healthy morsels of humor that complement the overall serious sci-fi tone. Jessie is the perfect stand-in for the player because we get to experience the strange and otherworldly through an outsider's eyes. And the best part, for us, twisting hallways, trans-dimensional rooms, telekinetic floppy disks, and sentient refrigerators might sound crazy, but for Bureau employees, it's just another Tuesday.
Welcome to the research sector of the Federal Bureau of Control. I'm Dr. Casper Darling, head of research. Somebody thought this video would make for great internal communications. I'm looking at you, Mr. Tomasi. So, this is where the magic happens. Anyway, I've been here for 24 years now. I've always been here. And through those years, we've made astonishing discoveries, authored studies of grave importance, and in all this work, there is one thing we know, and that's how little we truly know. Rest assured, we're committed to keep pushing the known laws and borders of reality, and to make the Bureau proud. So, welcome. Assuming you have the necessary clearance, and do follow the safety protocols. Read the manual. Otherwise, bad things will happen.
Research sector, huh? Home of the Bureau's mad scientists.
Jessie's search for her brother will take her through the nooks, crannies, and purposely forgotten areas of the oldest house, which follows its own set of rules. Navigating the Bureau can be tricky, which feels by design, but that doesn't excuse how confusing it can be to go from one area to another. I lay the blame on the in-game map because it's kind of useless and doesn't do enough to accommodate the player's search for the correct path to their destination. You can't zoom in, switch between floors, or set custom waypoints, nor does it contain any special markings that indicate locked security doors, which would really be helpful in the late game when you're engaged with Metroid-style backtracking to access new areas once Jessie's security clearance increases. Even though the constant back and forth can get a little tedious, it serves as a good opportunity to find new collectibles you might have missed the first time through. More confounding than ever-changing floor plans is the permeating presence of the Hiss, a red-tinged entity that has infected and taken control of Bureau agents that hang suspended in the air. I haven't felt this excited about gun combat in a video game in a long time, and aside from a few middling concerns, the practice of fighting off the Hiss's minions was way more fun than I expected, and there are several reasons for this. First, Jesse's standard issue FBC firearm is a really cool toy that can morph itself and deploy different ammo types. The base weapon operates like a standard handgun, whose damage and reload capabilities can be upgraded through mods dropped by enemies. Spending in-game currency and resources unlocks additional ammo that can pierce shields, imitate a grenade launcher, and deliver a chain of fast-firing bullets. The variation in ammo is really helpful and can be switched in and out on the fly with no penalties. The only thing that prevents the weapon from being unstoppable is a shared ammo system that prevents it from being too overpowered. While the gun is a great combat tool, it is held back by mechanical limitations that help to make fighting the Hiss a really exciting challenge. The second reason has to do with the powers Jessie earns by cleansing some of the Bureau's most troublesome altered items. Her first encounter with a floppy disk inadvertently grants her the ability to pick up objects in the environment and throw them at enemies. As the game progresses, you'll get to do other spectacular feats like flying, dodging, and even taking control over weakened enemies. Completing the game's missions and numerous side activities reward ability points to spend on making these powers stronger and more effective. Upgrading telekinesis, for example, allows you to pick up larger and heavier objects so that by the end of the game, you're pulling apart walls and tossing satellite dishes like they were tennis balls, and it's freaking awesome. The third and final reason why I really love the combat and control is that there are so many opportunities to put Jessie's gun and her powers to use. The Hiss conscripts its minions from an array of FBC employees, armed guards, and test subjects that give Jessie a run for her money. The Bureau's security and paramilitary rangers engage in flanking tactics and become stronger foes as you progress further along in the story. Some enemies and test subjects fly in the air and can dodge objects thrown at them, forcing you to rely on the pistol or using splash damage from explosive material. There are also named enemies that are more challenging because they have larger health and shield pools and often function as level mini-bosses. The Bureau's interior architecture lends itself to large open atriums, typing pools, and boardrooms that make for nice playgrounds and arenas to have large-scale gun battles with all sorts of enemy combinations that force you to think on your feet. These moments are exciting, tense, and a total blast to play. Bosses, on the other hand, are trickier and a little unfair because they are significantly stronger than any of the grunts you've faced before. And to make matters more annoying, because the game's checkpoints never seem to be properly situated near boss rooms, you're forced to make long, tedious treks back to the arenas every time you die. That's not going to stop me from shouting my love of control from the rooftops. Also, the whole running back to the boss room thing ultimately becomes irrelevant once the game ends, because you're free to explore and conduct side missions without them bothering you. I didn't pay much attention to Control during its development and really had no idea what it was all about. Little did I know I would fall down a rabbit hole of wonderful science fiction that felt like a cross between Welcome to Night Vale and Mark Danielewski's House of Leaves. Visually, the game stuns even on a base PlayStation 4. I can't imagine how cool and slick it looked like on a high-end PC or even on a PlayStation 4 Pro. A lot of the special effects look fantastic, with motion blur and film grain giving character to a very particular aesthetic. I also like seeing the small, subtle changes to certain parts of the environment, which gives the impression that the oldest house is alive and aware of your actions. There's also a late game sequence I won't spoil here that ends up being the most amazing action-packed sequence because it's one part Inception and 2 parts Doctor Strange. Really though, the most amazing element of Control is the interior decoration of the Bureau itself. Established in the 1960s and governed by strict rules against modernization, represented in-game as amusing posters, the facility appears as if trapped in time with its low-tech computers, a beautiful pneumatic tube system, and punch cards. Throw in some really amazing cinematic camera angles and filters, and Control's aesthetic turns into the love child between Stanley Kubrick and Denis Villeneuve. I normally don't attach scores to my video reviews outside of Darkstation, opting instead to let my words speak for themselves. I'm going to deviate from the norm with Control, however, and give it a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10, 100%, a must-buy, an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar. If you're a fan of Remedy Entertainment's catalog of games, you owe it to yourself to help make Control the commercial success it deserves to be. Seriously, don't wait on this, play it right now.
Keep your eyes open, Philip.
Hey, what can I do?
Oh, you're back. Oh, thank you, thank you. If I look away, I don't know what this thing will do. You have to get me out of here. The door can only be opened by the Panopticon supervisor. That's Langston, if he's still around.
Langston. Yeah, I know him. I'll go ask him how to get you out.
Please hurry. My eyes, they can't.
Hey, calm down. Just focus. What's your name?
Focus. Right. My name's Philip, and I think I can hold on for a bit. It's just my eyes. My eyes hurt so much.
Just hang on, Philip.